Hi guys, this is Iumi Scrooge here, and welcome to my very first video on my YouTube channel. Um, so an update recently came out for the World of Tanks Modern Armor console. I was the Allegiance update, and yeah, so it came out with big changes and the new season pass and new tanks, new changes to artillery and such there. But today I'm going to take a look at the video of the Object 780. I believe that's what's the name of the tank there. As you can see, my 3D commander there, the Santa Claus that's like demonic or whatever. Krampus or something, I think that's what it's called. I can't remember the name exactly, but you can see like the arms of children or whatever, kids in the back. I don't know what's in the bag. But anyway, like talking about the new top tier, like tier 10 premium Soviet heavy tank. And this tank is okay. Um it's not like, in my opinion, it's not perfectly amazing. It's just like all right, you know. And there's some good about it and some flaws. So let's just dive right in. So let's take a look at the stats first of this tank there before I go on to other parts of the video. Again, this is my first video, forgive me. But like, so let's start with the horsepower. 870 horsepower, top speed is 45 and reverse speed is 15. So what I've noticed with like the first several games I played, I can't remember how many games I played, probably like 8 or something. This tank it actually hits the top speed pretty quick, like 45 kilometers an hour, 45 kilometers an hour, especially with his power to weight ratio is like 17.47 there. It's like I've noticed it gets to the top speed pretty quick. And the fire chance, I can't remember what the fire chance is though, but it's probably high. Like originally maybe like 15 or 20%. You would probably have to look for yourself there. But honestly, it should be like a 50-50 chance on this tank, because the amount of times I've got hit in my hull and got set on fire is almost like all the time. Because like you get hit in the front. I'm not too sure how this how like the armor viewer, like the module viewer goes. So right now I don't see any fuel tanks, but it says engine, and I'm assuming it's including the engine and the fuel tank. So the front, I'm assuming, would be the fuel tank, and the back would be the engine. I would highly, highly suggest that you guys get get some skills for your commander for firefighting skills or like fuel tank durability, because this thing gets set on fire almost all the time. Almost every single game. I'm like telling you guys, every single game I get set on fire. Almost. Like honestly, it's like baffling how much times I got set on fire, because like when you play certain tanks, you'll notice like certain characteristics of the tank. Like maybe, hey, I've noticed on this tank the ammo rack is pretty sensitive, so I might have to invest a equipment slot or some crew skills just to shore up that defense or whatever. But this tank, you can't really invest yourself into DPM. You could, but there's gonna be some trade offs, and those trade offs, honestly, like. Again, like it's up to you how you decide how you want to play this tank, but like I think it's suggested like you kind of like do this from afar with its gun, and yeah. But yeah, the fuel tanks, honestly, just like you might want to do something about it or not getting close quarter combat. Let's get back to the let's see. So fire chance, that's it's pretty low right now, but like honestly, with even like it still like feels like a 25% chance that you might get set on fire with this tank. Hit points 2200, it's pretty good. Hull rotation speed 34 degrees, pretty good. Terrain, again, it's been a while like since I played this tank, especially when it comes to like not the tank but the game in general when it comes to stats. So like how it feels though, like handling this tank is actually pretty good. Like again, the mobility is like pretty good for a heavy tank. Not like medium tank level there, but like it's pretty good for a heavy tank. So mobility wise, it's pretty good. Detectability 3 Still 387. Moving 412. You're not gonna, play a TD role in this tank there. Fuel range for. Oh, I'm not too sure the stock fuel range. Forgive me. I've already put equipment on cruise skills, all that sort of stuff. So I'm not too sure. I think it's 410 or 400. I can't remember. I think it's 410 probably. But you might have to check that for yourself. Signal range 900 meters. Turret rotation speed 31 degrees. Yeah, I've so far in my games I've played, I've didn't notice like anything when it comes to like the rotation of the tank when I'm trying to get around another tank or if someone's circling me. Like I haven't really noticed like any big flaws yet. But it's all right for so far. Accuracy during the rotation 0.84 meters. Again, that might change based on like what I have on my cruise skills and that such. There, max elevation 15 degrees. Max depression is 7 degrees. And when it comes to the depression there for the gun, this tank is pretty good when it comes to like hiding your hull and just showing your turret. If you can get into those positions, whether it's like city maps or like open plains, whatever, if you can get to a position where maybe only just your top hull is showing and just your turret, either of those two is pretty good. But I've noticed like, so when it comes to the armor's value, again, over the place, sorry about that first video. I'm trying to get this out because it's literally the first day when this update came out. What am I doing? Armor viewer. So as you can tell, like the turret armor is pretty good, like well sloped for like a Soviet tank. It's just like the only issue I've noticed with this tank when it comes to the armor is actually the front plate, since the front plate is only 145 millimeters, and it's sloped but not that well. It's almost like flat there. Anybody with like, I don't know, like 250 millimeters of penetration can get through there pretty easily. Maybe some like lower tier 8s with really crappy guns there, but honestly, like most tanks, if that you meet on the field, will be able to penetrate your front plate, like front lower plate. And it's pretty high to spend it off the ground. Again, if you can get in those positions where you're only showing your top hull or just your turret, that'd be great. And maybe just wiggle back and forth, because like if you stand still there, they could probably hit your cupolas. But I'm not too sure if you were facing off against this tank, it's worth hitting the left or right there, because they're sloped and they're not really flat as much. But I think you might be better off hitting the top part one. But it depends on your caliber gun or what your situation is. And there's this very thin upper part there. It's only 50 millimeters. And I believe if you have over 151 millimeters like caliber gun there, you can penetrate that. So if you got that like 183 or Yak Panzer 100, I believe, if any of those big huge caliber guns there, you can probably get through the top part of the tank pretty easily. And okay, reload time. When I deck this out to like the full, like trying to get damage per minute out there, it could get the reload time under 10 seconds there. Like damage per minute would be like over 3,000. But I'm not too sure it would be really worth it for this tank, because again, I think it would be better off adding some equipment slots to that instead of like maybe a gun rammer. I don't know. It depends on your situation, honestly, because when it comes to the equipment there, I opted with the ventilation there because I want to make my cruise skills better, especially when it comes to firefighting skills. And gun stabilizer, I just want to make sure I land those shots there. And fuel tank durability, reinforced fuel tank. And I was even tempted to go with like, where is it? Engine protection durability instead of like the gun stabilizer, because again, you get set on fire on this tank so much there. And again, it's you would have to make some sacrifices. Either you want this tank to be more like oriented towards protection, or you want to do damage dealing. But I think for like a little bit of like having fun when it comes to the tank, you might be able to do advanced powertrain and traction system. and whatever your third slot may be, maybe like improved ventilation, and maybe a fuel tank consumable. You might able to enhance fuel boost, because this thing gets up to its top speed pretty quick there. I'm not too sure how much when it comes to like adding all this stuff there, but like maybe like 20% top speed added. You might able to get like 55. I don't know. This tank is pretty fast. I would maybe like at some point do that just for the hell of it there. But when it comes to everyday like combat, like, and and not every day, like every the battles, like most of the time you would probably want to run protection, but it's your choice, honestly. And anything else that I need to touch up on? Let's see. um okay, rate of fire 15. Accuracy 0.33, pretty good. Accuracy doing moving 2 meters. Aim time 1.78 seconds, which is pretty good. I'm not too sure on other tanks. I can take a look at the IS-7, for example. What's the aim time on this thing is going to be 2.7 seconds. So it's pretty good, like almost like on medium tank level type gun, like aim time. Or like tank destroyer, but it's pretty good. 1 shots per clip, so this thing is not an auto loader whatsoever. Ammo capacity 40. I haven't had any situations where like I was low on ammo in this tank there. So I haven't had like, crazy games or like really prolonged games there. It has three shell types: AP, APCR, and HE. And when it comes to the ammo value, like I've opted mostly with premium ammo. I don't know, it's just like first tank I want to get first impressions there. I mean, the standard like ammunition there with AP, 167 millimeters of penetration, not bad whatsoever. It's pretty good. Premium round 311, pretty good. Again, it's not like tank destroyer levels, but of course you don't want that on a heavy tank. And 65 millimeters of armor penetration. I don't know, like I'm in this situation now, like where I've opted more with getting more standard ammunition, not as much HE as recently, because I don't want to get into situations where like it's 65 millimeters of penetration, but the tank I'm shooting at, let's say artillery, is like 40 millimeters, but they're angled, and I don't know if it's gonna pan or splash. And especially like with the changes now, with the biggest surprise for me with this update is artillery's health. I thought at first it was a bug, but no, this is actually like big changes to its health pool, because tier 10 artillery now are like 1500 HP, which is crazy for me. Which is like, you're not able to one shot artillery as much as anymore. Now you're actually gonna have to be like, okay, I'm gonna have to shoot like 2-3 shells depending on your caliber gun, or 4 shells, even 5 shells, especially the like lower tier, like tier 8 light tanks, they're going against like these artillery, where it's actually gonna take a couple like a decent amount of shots just to take down like a tier 10 artillery, which actually can be quite scary now, because you're not able to one shot them there. And oh yeah, and the artillery changes to it, I also like to comment on, is it's actually pretty good, I would say. I'm not too sure about like the changes to maybe the rate of fire and aim time. I feel like maybe they should have kept it the same, but kept the notifications that you get notified in battle. You'll see it in the gameplay footage, and you'll see it for yourself in gameplay, like when you play for yourself. I actually quite like it, like when it comes to like notifying you that you're being targeted by artillery. But it's just like, I don't know, I'm not too sure I'm like up with the changes when it comes to the rate of fire and stuff like that, make it artillery more accurate with a higher rate of fire. I felt like they should have kept it the same. I don't know. That's my opinion, honestly. And I think anything else on this tank? Armor damage 530, pretty good. Module damage 180. Again, I don't know too much about like health of certain modules, but whatever tank shooting at me is gonna set me on fire. So again, I can't stress this enough, but invest in equipment when it comes to protection of your tank, whether it's your engine or fuel tanks. Primarily your fuel tank, especially it's located in the front of your tank, you'll be set on fire most often. And The speed, oh yeah, like the ammo speed is pretty fast, especially its premium rounds, like almost nearly 1,500 meters per second, which is crazy. And especially its HE, it's only like 930. And standard ammunition, 1130. It's pretty good. And you got premium bonus, the only thing is zero point 0.5, like well, 0.5, 105 tank XP bonus there. And yeah, overall, this tank is all right. Again, if you were thinking about like buying the whole battle pass just to get to this tank, honestly, just go through like the regular grind if you want. I don't think it's worth like speed like going through the battle pass like really quickly, especially like if you're gonna buy it. Is because like this tank is not that OP. Like it's all right for like a season pass tank. And anything else that I like to touch up on? Equipment. Again, there's so you can invest in damage potential, maybe like advanced gun rammer. Aim time is pretty good. Maybe a gun stabilizer or advanced reload. That's also pretty good. Or you can do another loadout, which would be maybe advanced traction system and advanced powertrain with like the fuel boost there consumable. If you just want to have like fun and get to those positions pretty quick, I think because they can get to this tank is really good mobility wise. And another one would be investing in protection there. Most of the time would be like I would say reinforced fuel tank as well as engine protection. And anything else? Not really. Maybe improve ventilation. Again, it's like I don't notice my crew being knocked out most of the time. It's just the equipment part of the tank would be the fuel tank and engine. And consumables, I just run almost all the tanks I play. I almost run like premium consumables, even like my tier 2s or 3s, just for the hell of it. Because like it's I swear like it's like such pay to win with this game, of course, because I'm able to like afford the premium ammo, afford the premium consumables for my tank. Because when you run the standard ones, I've noticed I thought it would be like the PC version. I see the number of uses as 1, but I thought it would be the PC version where you can use it multiple times per battle. But like, you can only use it once, and it only instantly like repairs all the things, which is pretty good. Like better than previous like versions where you just had those single use repair kits or med kits or all that type of stuff one time per battle. But like still, I feel like they shouldn't make this like the premium consumables where you can use them multiple times per battle. But you can see like I honestly never use it unless I'm like, no, I'm gonna troll and I'm not gonna survive that long. I would just like run these cheap kits there. Ammunition, I've opted with mostly premium ammunition. That's just me. Call me all the names you want to. Gold spammer, but I can like there's nothing wrong. Like you can definitely like do this tank with standard ammunition, but of course there's gonna be times where you're gonna need it, especially facing half heavies that are like well angled. Especially like if you like heavy tanks that are well angled, like the Mouse or IS-7s or anything like any tank in general, you're gonna have a hard time penning with this premium ammunition if they're playing their tank well. And I think that's it there. Again, I'm gonna include some gameplay footage, which I'm gonna voice over because I've noticed when I record, you can hear everything in the background. So I don't know if you hear everything so far, but most of the time when I'm trying to do live recording, you would just hear the controller like moving around. I don't know if you guys would prefer that, but I'm just gonna do voiceovers for like several clips I'm gonna play. I'm gonna include like several instances where I had one good game. Maybe I did like 5,000 damage, maybe placed third on my team there. But I'm gonna include other like footage of like where I got set on fire. Like the first shot, like my tank got set on fire. I don't think I was running any like crew skills nor equipment at that time when I got set on fire like 2-3 times that I've recorded. And again, like just I would stress this enough. Also, I forgot to mention the commander skills. What I opted with. Skills. So I opted with Sixth Sense, uh, Born Leader, as well as Rapid Reloading. Those are like my three standard ones I always go with, no matter what tank it is, because I just want to like increase my reload speed. Who doesn't want that? And also increase the skill effectiveness and crew performance. And Sixth Sense is pretty much standard. You always want to get it. Um, and when it comes to this tank in particular, I would suggest to get firefighting prevention. You might even want to get it first, depending on your crew skills. If you have a like maxed out crew and you want to like respect them, I would highly suggest like maybe get the first four skills, and one of the top skills you probably want to get first, like maybe as your fourth or even your third, even is probably fire prevention, as well as maybe supply conservation, increase the, you know, like I'm trying to make sure I'm not trying to get set on fire here, but like that's pretty much it there. Any other skills as well? I'm not too sure as what skills you would probably want to get, because most of the time I'm opting with like trying to not trying to get set on fire there. But again, if you want to just like troll tank type of thing, maybe a clutch braking, off-road driving, I don't know what else, increase movement speed or like decrease damage, control impact. If you want to go with that troll build of just like, you know, ramming people with this tank, because again, this thing is pretty decent when it comes to speed there, but you probably want to play the i7 for that if you want to do like a troll build of just like ramming people or going really fast in this tank. But I think that's pretty much everything like I need to touch up on, like as when it comes to the specs of this tanks, and you can see some gameplay. Again, first game, and I have like trouble sometimes when I play like other tanks when it comes to like not tank but maps in general, because like I still need to get used to the flow maps. I don't know like all the right positions, because again, like I started this playing this game recently, like a couple months ago, and I had a long hiatus with this like game where I haven't played it a couple months, or not a couple months, but a couple years even. And again, a lot of changes came back where, you know, there's new changes, new tanks, and new ways to use your premium consumables and that type of stuff there. And even the maps are new to me, and I still don't know where exactly to go or would be the best position for this tank. And yeah, that's pretty much it there. And I'll see you guys when the with the gameplay footage. A lot of and here we go. Just had to mess around with my recording settings because I have no clue how to record in this is a Sony Vegas Pro 20. Yeah, trying to figure out the mic settings there, but we're getting into it. And my Game Boy is pretty loud as I'm doing this record for over. Oh my God, I can't speak. I'm gonna stroke. Anyway, I'll turn down the volume for my headset so I don't get blasted in the ear. And yeah, this is my first game, nothing too special, just like my first impressions of this tank. One thing that I noticed right away was the sound of the tank. It sounded, I don't know, weird. Like this is, I think like maybe the first time I'm hearing this type of sound for a tank there. I'm not, I was like thinking, is this like an electric type tank or something like that? Or something special about the transmission or engine or whatever? But yeah, but it sounded kind of weird. That was like my first impression of this tank. And also the mobility wise, going like 40 across the flat there. Pretty fast too, it was pretty cool. Like it was pretty interesting. And making my way up to, I'm forgetting the name of this map, honestly. I played this game for so long, I can't remember the names of the map except like Himmelstor for Profovovka or something like that. But yeah, making my way here, I was just like, I was looking to get into that position like off to my left there, that little cubby where tanks can sit in. But I decided not to see like if I can run into any tanks in the middle. And I think this is one of my first games there where like again, I wasn't running any like engine protection equipment or like fuel tank equipment or firefighting skills. I was just like, you know, just the regular like vents, gun stabilizer and gun rammer, that's it there. But later in the games, as I play more of this tank there, that's when I noticed like, oh, okay, I really need to actually like change this up a bit, where I actually have to like, you know, maybe get a fuel tank durability equipment or etc. And as you can see, like the gun, like it's like really brief there, but the gun handling is pretty good, I would say. And yeah, this is the first game I noticed artillery changes. Like, I'm not too sure if I got targeted at all during this game there by artillery with the new changes, like where like you get notified of artillery is like looking at you, looking to shoot at you. But it made me more aware of like, okay, I know artillery's looking at me because, you know, I was the first to get spotted, or I'm the biggest threat so far. And I didn't notice at all during this first game, but the health changes made to artillery was like, what, 1400 on that Conqueror gun carrier, which was crazy. And yeah, like right now I'm really surprised by the mobility. I might, for the fun of it, just run you know, engine durability, not engine durability, like advanced powertrain and advanced engine, basically to make this tank as fast as I can. Because I think if you probably mod it up, you can get over 50 kilometers an hour, but like, I don't know exactly, maybe like 55, I think, with everything added in. But yeah, you can make this a pretty fast, heavy tank if you want, but with the risk of like being set on fire, but probably like your commander skills will offset that, your skills. And yeah, the gun handling is pretty good. Right now I'm using center ammunition so far, because I'm shooting the sides of tanks and I'm shooting down on them there, so it will probably negate the armor effects, you know, if they're angling. And their side armor is pretty weak too, especially the 60 TP there. You know, he's caught in the bad position where like he has tanks shooting above him, damage his engine. And yeah, so far I've had pretty good impressions of this tank, but nothing to the point where like this tank is OP, you know, it's a must-have type of thing. It probably is pretty good when you're like in a hold down position where only your upper plate or your turret arm is showing there. If you can get in those type of positions there, it'll be pretty good. But don't rely on your hull armor, honestly, because it's pretty weak. Sure, it's like, you know, well angled at the right spots depending on the situation there, but honestly, like, you'd be better off like not being in this position. Again, it's like, I think they mentioned in the description of this tank is more like a heavy sniper, you know, from a distance here. You got sturdy armor, but no, it's not much of a close quarter tank at all. Honestly, like face hug people, maybe, if they can't get their gun depression on you. I had that on one of the clips where I got behind the tank there, but of course he's not gonna have the gun depression to shoot my lower plate because he is pretty gun depression of the distance there. And I'm using the premium rounds right now. I'm shooting at roughly 400 meters, so my penetration maybe is like around 280 or something. I'm not too sure, because I know at 500 meters it's like the same standard penetration as my regular ammunition. So yeah, I'm shooting at the lower plate of that Panzer something 7 tier 10 German heavy there. It's pretty difficult, and trying to get maybe the cupola, but I, you know, try to aim towards the lower plate of the machine. Maybe if I could get a pen. I got stuck here for a bit there, and it's close to the game anyway. And also the ribbon system I noticed, which is I really like that they brought it back there, because it kind of reminds me of the OG, you know, ribbon system. I missed it, especially like just doing this type of stuff. And I think you see a watermark of the program I'm using. It says Vegas. Yeah, I'm using Vegas Pro 20. I think it's popping up on the screen. I'm not sure, you're probably gonna see it. I'm using the trial version right now. I'm not, whether or not either I'm gonna like get the license for it, or like maybe pay monthly, depending how I feel about doing YouTube again. But yeah, we're getting close to the game. I'm posing, and I will show you other clips of me getting like shot in the engine and stuff like that, being set on fire with the first shot. So yeah, I'll see you in the next gameplay footage. And I did pretty well, and here's my 3D commander, Krampus or whatever. Not too bad as the first game. We did alright. It's a pretty average game. Again, see you in the next gameplay footage. And here we go, our second game on Sunset Coast. Right now I'm just trying to like use the names that briefly appear at the beginning of the game, so just to know which map I'm playing, and like if I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're on Sunset Coast, and Second game of like up the Object 780 so far. Again, the mobility is pretty good. Again, I was like thinking like maybe I should just like do this like for fun, just put it on speed mod because I don't think this tank as it is competitive. I'm not too sure, but this turret's pretty strong. The upper hull armor is pretty good. It's just the lower plate that's kind of fails you, as well as like the fuel tank placement of this tank, as well as the engine. Because like these things are pretty sensitive. And again, this is like my second game where I'm not running any firefighter skills, nor like fuel tank protection or engine protection, that type of stuff. So you're gonna see like in a couple of minutes that I got set on fire quickly at the end of the game. Not the end of the game, maybe like halfway into this game there. But again, like I was trying to find a position where I could be most effective to put good use of a upper hull armor as well as the turrets, and make use of the 70 degrees of gun depression that I have in this tank. And this was when the second time I've noticed, like in this game, or like the first time I've noticed in this game, in my second game, that the artillery changes made to this game, where it was giving you the notifications of artillery's like looking at you. I'm not too sure what that symbol means, but I'm assuming it's like artillery is aiming at you, so be aware. Which I think is pretty good, so you're more aware, because honestly, like, artillery sucks, especially when you're having a good game and you're just being singled out. Like, especially if you're playing as a slow, heavy tank, you're gonna be like slowly dying over the course of like a couple minutes, just like a slow, painful death. And this is where one of the positions I was trying to look for is to make use of the turret armor. Roughly around here, there, but they still kind of have a glimpse of your, like, frontal hull armor where it has like 100 millimeters of protection on the corners of the tank, as well as the 145 degrees there. Especially if you angle it like this, it's pretty flat there, but I'm trying to like make sure that I wasn't showing my hull armor as often, especially the lower plate. And this AMX M4 here, this is the tank that sets me on fire with one shot to the fuel tank. And again, I'm not too sure what the settings, like the percentage wise on this, like, the chance of being set on fire, but it's pretty high on this tank. It's honestly like 50% chance or something, with like any tank shooting at you in your frontal hull armor or your rear is gonna set you on fire. Again, I highly suggest that you guys put like modules or get firefighter protection, and forget about like maybe the premium consumable there with the rations or snacks, whatever. Just get a fire extinguisher, make everything like as low as you can, because this tank is really sensitive when it comes to fires. And that's what I noticed on any other tank I've played so far, like that I have in my garage, that this thing gets sets on fire easily. And this is it right here. This is where I get set on fire. Boom, first shot. And I was like, what? Like, I was like kind of like baffled by the whole thing. Like, that's crazy. Like. And again, I think I'm exposing my lower plate too much on this position there. I'm guessing, I would say, it's like your reticule wants to be right over the cover. Not as much as like the distance in between there. And again, this is where I got set on fire. So I'll see you in the next game. I'll talk more about it. And game number 3. So yeah, I'm gonna include multiple games in this first impression, the good and the bad. So this one is gonna be like a bad one, because again, I'm just trying to figure out like where can I like make use of the tank. I was thinking the castle or maybe the right hand side, but seeing this game has 3 artillery, I missed the changes where it's just 1 artillery. Yeah, sure, like the games were like longer, I think, when they mentioned in the notes there of like reverting back to the regular old matchmaking, because like games were taking longer, because like I don't know, like 1 artillery at a time was taking up most of the time of searching the game. And honestly, I would much rather have 1 artillery instead of like having 3 in this game, being like, oh my god. Especially if you have like 3 enemy artillery like pounding on you, that's like the worst. Like, just like, please kill me now type deal. And yeah, again, third game, this is like my second fire. Again, I did not learn from the first thing. I thought it was just like, oh, it's just a fluke that I got set on fire so happily. I don't think it will happen again. I was thinking, so again, no firefighter protection, like crew skills, nor equipment to help like increase the durability of my engine, nor like my fuel tank. I think out of like the two modules that you want to have when it comes to like when increasing the durability of your fuel tank or engine, I would say fuel tank because your I think your fuel tank will be set on fire most of the time, especially if you're like showing frontally your hull armor. I think you would probably want to get the fuel tank durability protection equipment as well as maybe your engine if you want to run that as your second equipment in your tank. And here's the E4. Maybe I was like, maybe I'll use this position, but thinking again, artillery might pound me, especially if they're like on that one line. And there's a chieftain right there and an E4, and I'm like, okay, trying to make use of the 7 degrees of gun depression, but it's not enough on this ridge line. So instead of aiming for the E4, I went for the chieftain, just hit him in the side, boom, hit him in his ammo rack. Probably not happy about that. And the E4 is coming over the ridge, and I was gonna try to like face hug him if he was gonna try to like shoot me in the hull armor. That's what my biggest concern was. And you see artillery's aiming at me, which is not good. Boom. That's really nice so far. And I see my teammate pushing over the ridge, and I'm like, I'm gonna back him up, you know, like screw it. So I should have aimed. That was a poorly aimed shot on me. I should have just waited, held my shot, and just got to the side. And this is my second fire right here. Here's the chieftain, shoots me in the engine. Boom! I get set on fire. First shot. Like I was like noticing a pattern. Like, huh, this tank is not that good, especially when it comes to the engine protection. And you know what? Let's screw it. Let's roll into this other video. And here's Sand River. Again, this is like I think the best gameplay footage I have of this tank. I did roughly like 5,000 damage, and this is when the game I noticed like the health changes on artillery, which is like 5,000, not 5,000, I want to say, like nearly like 1,500 like light tank type health pool, which is crazy for me. I don't know if I think I would much rather have it revert back there, but it makes it seem like artillery has a chance now if they get counter batteried by the other enemy artillery, because they have enough health, but to the point where like they could survive potentially of an artillery shell from another artillery, you know, on the enemy team if they were to get counter batteried. You know, if they were, instead of aiming for enemy tanks there, they were just trying to like watch the tracer rounds of the enemy base there to see if they can counter battery the, you know, enemy artillery. And mobility is pretty good. I forgot what's this heavy tank in front of me. I don't know what it is, but it's going pretty fast than me. I think it's maybe the chieftain. Oh no, it's the machine. Okay. But yeah, not too bad as the mobility of this tank. Again, you probably want to take a shot every time I say mobility and good fire protection skills, because that's like the sum of the video there. It's like, if you're gonna get this tank and use it all the time, fire protection for, you know, your crew skills as well as your equipment, because again, this thing is like one big fuel tank when it comes to being set on fire. Like one spark will set this thing on fire. And I think this is like a good area to make use of that 7 degrees of gun depression there and strong turret armor. Especially if you get into this position. I don't think they'll be able to see your lower plate there. Like right here would be pretty good. Maybe just a tad lower, you know, until your reticule is like roughly right here. I think that's when you're in the strongest position, because you're, you know, hiding your cupolas. You know, they're pretty strong. The ones on the sides I would see. I haven't had much time to go against other Object 780s, because I think so far of my like 5-6 games I played in this first impression video, so I can get this out to you guys, is I was the only one with the Object 780 so far. So again, it's not it's not something too worth like buying the whole battle pass for, I don't think. And right here, like, this is where I got shot by the standard Switzfun 105B or something, 103B. I can't remember the name of the tank, but the tier 10 Swedish tank destroyer I think is shooting at me right here. So I was like, oh, gonna get out of here. I guess I wasn't well hidden behind cover, shoving the side armor. So making my way over to this side. Just looking at the game, look like it's gonna we're gonna steamroll them, and the ribbon system's pretty cool too. Again, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the first gameplay footage I showed you guys, but I'm really happy they included the ribbon system, because like, you know, it kind of brings back memories of the old good times there. And again, this is like not my first time recording of World of Tanks footage there. I used to do gameplay footage on my other channel, if you like if you can find it there. But I was like had one of the most viewed videos of the FE4202. Like this was back in the 360 days, and you can find my other channel there. But I kind of like want to use this channel for like doing gameplay footage there. I had like 600 subscribers, but again, I just want to kind of start over from scratch. So I don't really have much of a YouTube banner or profile picture maybe on this channel, but eventually I will at some point. I don't know when. And let's see, students found shooting at me, then I'm just like, you know, screw it. I don't think there's much chance on that ridge line in the enemy base to like get me. It's just mostly of this guy right here. And he's gonna quickly be taken out by my teammates here. And I see Progetto, was it 56 there at the enemy base. And I'm trying to make use of this ridge line for my gun depression, but it's not too much there. I end up overexposing myself just a little bit. And this is when I noticed the artillery changes, where I noticed the health pool of the GWE E100 there, the tier 10 German artillery. I was like, holy crap, 1540 health pool. I was like thinking, is this like a glitch or not, like a bug where like they made a mistake on one of the German artillery where it's like 1500 HP? Because I only have like the Conquer gun carrier, and I think I didn't even bother looking at the changes, or I wasn't aware of like the health changes made to artillery. And yeah, the object should 268. Again, I'm like reading this on my little like Vegas Pro editor there, doing a voiceover and using premium rounds like a sweaty nerd. And yeah, this one I was like noticing like, holy crap, that's a lot of health for like the tank, for like enemy artillery. Take out the guy just to secure the kill, because we're gonna take out, I don't know, the German artillery like 30-40 seconds to reload. I don't know the changes made to artillery now. I don't know how many rounds per second they have, because I know they made some changes, but I don't know what. So I don't have that on top of my head there when it comes to the artillery changes. I wasn't too sure, so I aimed in the back. So, oh, now I know the Type 5 Heavy has his rear towards me, so I switched to premium rounds. Again, I got shot in the fuel tank right here. And the hull armor, if enemy tanks, like tier 10 mediums, heavy tanks, any tank really, if they can see your hull armor, you're pretty much dead. So, again, you want to find positions where you can make use of the turret armor. And again, let's roll into the next gameplay footage. Siegfried line, I think that's how you say it. Man, this is like one continuous like footage of like me doing a voiceover for. And yeah, it's anything special about this gameplay footage? I'm not too sure. City map. Again, near the end, I got shot in the hull armor. Basically, it's, I don't know how you would describe this tank. It's more like a heavy sniper, but also like feels like kind of like a medium, because some mediums, you know, like they sometimes they have maybe a shrunk turret armor, maybe. I can't think of like honestly, this tank is kind of like, I'm trying to find the right word for it there, but I don't know, it kind of feels not like a heavy tank. It has really strong turret armor, upper hull, again pretty well angled. It's just like you don't want to show your lower plate whatsoever, because it's pretty much flat, honestly, even though it's angled 145 millimeters, and I don't know what the angling is, but it's almost pretty much flat, honestly, with any like these going up against other tier 10 tanks there with their penetration. They'll penetrate that pretty easily. Trying to get a snapshot on Progetto 65, was it? I'm not too sure. I can't really read the tank or remember the tank's names on top of my head. And again, artillery's looking at me by the looks of it. Trying to get cover near these buildings there. Looking for artillery shells, seeing if I can dodge it maybe. Hopefully don't get hit automatically. And this would be a good position, like for this tank, where you're only exposing your turret armor, because it's pretty strong. I've like went up against other tanks there where they have like, you know, difficulty to see me, and they're like, oh crap, I don't want to deal with that guy. Especially if it's a new tank, you're not really aware of like where the weak spots are. Yeah, you can shoot the cupolas, but you don't know which one to shoot at, if there's a particular one you want to shoot at. I'm not too sure what my suggestion would be. It's the two cupolas on the either side of the tank. It's pretty well angled slightly, you know. I think one of the stronger cupolas. Artio's looking at me, but I'm not too sure. Like you might be better off shooting the middle one, because the middle one is probably the weakest of them all, and probably the flattest. But it's also pretty small, as you can see. It's like not much there, so maybe it depends on your situation, what type of tank you're using, what caliber and that sort of stuff. So again, it's based on your choice. You choose whatever. Gun handling is pretty good. I see a beach party there. Archo's hitting me. Try to go for a tracking shot where I can damage him and just track him there. Just shot his rear since he's kind of like facing almost directly back at me. With this, I could have just hanged around the corners or shooting the guy in the rear, but I was just like, you know, whatever. Just having fun with this brand new tank I just got. And just kind of like face hugging him in his rear. Again, artillery was kind of like targeting me, and I'm gonna pay for it just slightly. There I go. But again, with this, you know, if you're facing off a tank with his rear like that, and he has like 0 gun depression over his rear, you're pretty much good. And you might want to jiggle slightly, you know, get your gun in front of his barrel, or like, you know, kind of wiggle your turret back and forth, maybe, you know, like just make it harder for them to shoot your cupolas. And this is when I got shot down, where the T7, the tier 9 American tank destroyer, I can't, like the black one there, I can't remember. But again, I got shot down right here. Again, I was just kind of like, oh, whatever, I don't care about my health of my tank. Hoping if I could hide the lower plate there, but I don't think I did it well enough. And yeah, straight to the other game, Pro River, whatever. Continuous game voiceover. And I think this might be my last one. Yeah, so I'll cut it short here. And honestly, my takeaway is, if you're facing this tank, shoot the lower plate if you can see it, because it's pretty weak. Don't bother shooting the upper plate, I would say, unless you're like shooting down it, because it's 100 millimeters and it's well angled. And if you're shooting the corners, I think you, like, if it's trying to angle towards you, maybe you should shoot the corners of the angled part of the front part of the tank, because it's only 100 as well, I think. And to shoot the front and the rear, because this tank gets set on fire easily if the person playing this tank doesn't have like firefighting skills or any of that sort there, or equipment, because like it's almost like an EC 1000 damage, whatever, if you're shooting the fuel tank. Especially, it gets really annoying. That's this tank. I think this is the game where I'm running like fuel tank protection, firefighting skills. Like, okay, I learned my lesson the past several games now. I'm gonna run this tank. And honestly, like, looking at the layout, I'm not too sure if we won this, but just looking at this tank, I was just, how the team set up there, I was just like, the weak is pretty, like, on our side is pretty weak right now. So, and this, I don't know what this light tank thinking he can go like toe to toe with an object 279E. It's like, dude, just let me through. And I was gonna make use of that guy E50 there. I don't know if he got shot. I think he might have got shot by the artillery and dealt 1000 damage or something. But I was gonna make use of his corpse there as cover for, like, you know, to hide my weak hull armor. Then, you know what, I was like hoping this light tank will back me up. Like, I'll just distract this, like, this other Soviet heavy here. Hopefully he'll get to the side and rear and that type of stuff there. But I think like 2 other tanks, enemy tanks, end up joining him inside there. Again, like, look at this. Like, I think the mobility looks pretty good when it comes to circling, because this object 279E is like kind of weak. And I was like, oh crap, I'm screwed, because like there's 3 enemy tanks now. I'm trying to get a good look of like what's the other tank shooting at me so far. Again, facing me, I think he's having a hard time. He's trying to probably aim for my cupola. I'm not too sure if he's aiming this like off to the sides there. I don't think he's tall enough to aim for the middle. I'm not too sure, but he might be better off shooting the middle one, because we both having a hard time shooting at each other's cupolas. Because I'm trying to hit straight on. That was a little too high. Should have aimed slightly lower. I might have had him. He's tracked. And again, I know I'm screwed. I'm gonna die here unless I have artillery support there and they get lucky with their shots there. But I know I'm dead. All I'm thinking is trying to secure this kill. But honestly, at the end of the day, this tank is all right. It's not something to, like, you know, be hyped up for, honestly. And this will conclude the end of my video. I hope you guys appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe for more gameplay footage there of other tanks. And maybe I'll do a garage review next. So see you next time.